take the Mylar.
You did? Was that too late? You could go with salt. We'll change it for the next. Do you wait for the road, or you want to do the same thing? Change the road out. Thank you. Your time. Next round we'll have it. Well, it's gonna get recorded.
Well, we're going to see if anybody else shows before I jump up.
Start anytime you have. We do have an alternate here too, if you want an extra space filled.
Sure. Perfect.
You should have all your information up there. This, oh yeah, this one's for the first case, which you should also have under here. The first case is right there. Perfect. Here. Yep. Then you should have the case in that file.
But even before it's recorded.
Okay, I guess we can get going here. This is Newport Planning Board, November, what is today?
14th.
14th. November 14th, 2023. And I'll start with a roll call with Jeff on my right.
Jeff North.
Scott Stapp.
Herb Teller?
Tobin Menard.
Dave Burnham, Chair. Agenda review, I think we can go right into continued business if you... And the first... All the numbers are up. First order of business is 2023 SDFP 06, all-purpose storage owner, Fieldstone agent. Request a final review for a minor subdivision property identified as map 235, lot 021, located at 880 John Stack Highway in the rural commercial zoning district. And this has already been accepted as complete on October 10th, 2023, so we can go right into presentation if you'd like to.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, planning board members and those in the audience. My name is John LaFave. I'm with Fieldstone Land Consultants. We were here back in October. I talked about the plan. There was a few revisions they wanted to see. And those revisions to the plan. One of the concerns was that the sign wouldn't meet the setback requirements. So what I did was the 10-foot was the requirement. We actually went 12.5 feet all the way around. And that's even from the edge of the sign, so that there's an extra buffer for the actual width and size of the sign. That was added to the plan. We have the gravel access, the driveway access, which goes onto the access road. We have a note on here that the gravel driveway access is to be removed and seeded. One other thing we wanted to have was the documents for review for the shared well and septic, and for the easement. Our attorney went on vacation prior to letting us know. I tried to track those down even to the last minute today. So that's the one missing piece of the puzzle. If it's all right with the board, I was hopeful that we could do something where we submit the materials to the board reviews them, town council reviews them, and then upon the blessing from town council and the board, the plan can then get recorded. But, condition where we have the plans here tonight, and the plans have been addressed accordingly, where everything the board had asked for has been added to the plans.
Don't think there was anything else that we're on there.
I took notes from the last meeting, and those were the issues we wanted to see.
There's some of one of these entrances down here.
It was this,
Are we eliminating an entrance here?
right here.
Oh,
The
what?
gravel driveway access to be removed.
Okay, that's one of them.
So after adjusting that lot line for the sign too, I mean, we still meet all the requirements for over 5 acres. So I think last time we had 5.002 acres, now we're 5.008.
Any questions from the board?
All the adjustments that were requested were on the front lot, not the back lot?
Yeah, yeah, this one went with the shared well
Sure, okay. Yeah.
and the shared
Septic.
septic system.
Yeah, the frontage remains the same. We just put the jog for the sign. It was brought to our attention at the last meeting, the sign wouldn't meet the setback requirements, so we put the jog in, and with 10 feet required, we went to 12 and a half, you know, from the edge of the proposed sign that we knew the size of, to make sure that they had adequate room, should they want to change the width or move it slightly.
If we don't have any questions, I'll open it to the public. Anybody like to speak for or against? Seeing and hearing no one, I'll come back to the board. What's your pleasure?
I believe that he met everything that we requested in the last meeting. And just,
I need a motion to
yeah, so
accept.
I would make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
023, sorry, I have a hard time saying that. SPF
SDFP 06.
06.
Conditions.
The requested,
You do it. I've never done that, but I've only done seconded. So.
well, I wasn't here for the last meeting, but the requested council approval, I believe that was what we had just...
So-
The deeds.
Yeah,
The
so
deeds.
the...
Shared well and easement
That's a
documentation.
condition, yeah.
To be provided. Right.
Yeah, it's private. We're just going to have town council review that, and the planning board take a look at it. Once you guys give your blessing, then it's good to go. I brought a Mylar with me tonight too, on the chance that we were agreeable to those terms.
Okay, we have a motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it.
Thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the presentation.
John, would you guys be willing to sign all this paperwork? The Mylar and the other papers?
Yeah, because they won't get any.
No, I mean, they can't,
OEs
you were planning on having these signed, right? Tonight?
I mean, if possible, you guys
Yeah, I
record or
don't-
do we record?
I will take I'll take the Mylars in.
So there's
Yeah.
no
And
worries.
there's- Yeah, so I would think you should sign them, and then, the deeds would have to come through, obviously, before it was sold anyways, with that number on it, or even listed.
Right, so if it's a declaration, the declaration will get recorded with the plan. The easement language will likely be included in the sale of the new lot. But once we get those documents to you, it should be pretty straightforward.
Yep,
So I have an extra copy of the plan here tonight. I'm going to leave it with you.
sure, that'd be great. And, so I would need,
I brought 2 copies with me tonight, full size.
I need two Is this an area to sign? Yeah, I'll need that copy signed, that copy signed, and then the Mylar. Do you have Sharpies?
I do.
Oh, God, you
No.
come fully prepared.
They just came out of the
Here's
drawer.
Sharpies. So everyone's gonna need 3 signatures, and then
Yeah, you can
you
start
can
with
keep
sooner
one
right
of the
down
paper.
the line.
For your records, I keep one, and then I keep
Wait,
your.
why don't we use the Sharpie on this one? Probably bleed
So
through.
should I?
That's what I was just wondering if, I mean, this is a finer
Just
Sharpie.
an hour,
If
put it in the
Don't
file.
use
Should
Sharpie.
have it.
Yeah.
Yes,
you just pen on that one.
Sorry, I didn't have it, like.
no, it's fine.
All right.
I don't want
Save.
to, they're not to play this anyways, it was simple.
Guess it doesn't have a specific
Oh,
spot.
Not much room, well, I think we got enough room to,
And if you could date, make sure you date, someone dates all of them too, on all.
11/14.
I'll be in touch with this.
Yeah.
Let me know that. Council.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
They're doing one on that. I think yeah, it's all part of it.
Well, I'm very updated.
That was just for submitting the bylaw. Which will be 25 minutes, 15 minutes, so only 10 minutes.
It's quite a few years.
I think where he said cross this.
So just cross to the secretary section.
Yep.
I'll check in and say things about that.
Would you recall this? Yeah, it's hooks up some of our historic buildings.
We're going to signature in the second one, no signature area.
Have you guys done the Mylar?
Not yet. Yeah. Went from Dave down that way.
All the documents they gave to the registry, you know.
Okay.
Do you have one you like better than the other? I'm not picky.
So once Jeff signs, you can do that one and head out. Jeff, that can be just when you're finished. I'll take it.
Whatever mechanism.
You're all set.
For you?
I don't see you gentlemen again before the
So
holidays.
all good.
Great, and it's all dated.
Great Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Guess stash them back in.
Stash them. Hopefully they stay there.
Take
I haven't heard from you in a long time. She reached out once in a while. But I
I'm
haven't-
working on the hope that one of these days.
I get you on the holiday.
Really?
Since there's two.
We had them in each drawer at one time, but
And that could be why there's two, because this one doesn't have any, so.
probably.
All that stuff runs
Hold
with
on 1 second, so that the next one.
so it has decent things, so
So this is
I'm
next
sure
on
I
the
have
agenda.
an extra or two in my pocket.
They'll call you. Yes, but you are next.
Okay. So,
You guys have multiple, it's this case that's next. And this is also the storm treatment, and here's a large scale. I can take these out of your way if that's, David, here's your big one. And then, you did have an extra paper?
I do, yeah.
I think I will take it,
Perfect.
if you don't mind.
Sure.
We're just moving Mike and
Most members of the public wanted to,
They could, oh, are you gonna put it on like that?
I have one
Okay,
for
perfect.
myself. And I don't think it-
Here's a large one. And here's the case for you. You have
I got it right
case.
here too, yes, I do.
Okay, so I'm gonna take this out. You've got it all.
Yep.
Then I want a copy of the case. Okay. Mr. Chairman, when you're ready, I do have a question, or a statement, I guess.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, our next order of business is 2023 SDFP 08, Brunel Realty Trust owner, Mark Brunel, agent. Request a final review for a major subdivision property identified as map 218, lot 011, located on North Main Street in the rural zoning district. And you have a...
Yes, I'd like to make one comment. I was supposed to have a cover sheet, which I didn't get to. And this case, due to the fact that I think it might be a lot of cases of this size and scope, or due to the fact that they have wetlands on the property, that they have to be seen in front of the Conservation Commission. And the Conservation Commission always falls after you, so they're being, the case is being presented to the CC tomorrow evening. So I would like that to be taken into consideration at next month's meeting, maybe, and not vote on it fully, or vote on it up to this, and then considerations for what the CC is going to make comments with. For you to think, potentially have it a phase 1, or phase 1 and then phase 2 is just the CC issues, or however you want to work it. But that's what I wouldn't mind seeing happening, keeping the case open. Based on what, they haven't been seen in front of Conservation. Oh, and the other thing is, I put it out to the town departments. Water and sewer didn't get back to me, and neither did fire. The building inspector was all fine, and the police said he had no concerns about it. Yeah.
Well, since it still has to go before another board,
It does.
then it hasn't been, it is not complete. It's not a complete case then. So
Well, that's-
we can take, what we can do is listen to your presentation, and we'll make whatever we deem necessary for changes, and then next month here, after you have your dealings with the other board, we can have it
Mr. Chair,
accept it as complete. Yes.
I don't believe by law that we can do it that way. I think we should, because our CC board always falls after yours, and I by law have to put them on this agenda. I don't believe we can say it's not complete based on the way we schedule our meetings.
It's not complete if everything isn't done.
Where's the requirement for that?
Us
It's spelled
having
out in the LDR
us,
or in the zoning ordinance.
us having a conservation, it's overseen. We're a certain status of a town based on all the different boards we have. What's that status called, Jeff? You know that? Oh, it's a higher level, but I still don't think we have gone without a CC, because it's impossible. They submit the case in a certain time, and by law, I have to put them on the planning board. I think we could at least open up the case and have it complete, with the exception of the CC to come to, with that information to come tomorrow. I don't think that we can, because we'd be failing everyone every month in that venue. Does that make sense?
Well,
I know what you're saying.
it makes sense in that a lot of boards don't even
I know.
do a complete on
They,
first.
yeah, that's true. That's what I mean. Like, so open it up and not vote on, definitely not vote on it, but open it. Yes, you're
Well,
absolutely
yeah,
right.
we can still make the deadlines for the dates and times, so we're fine.
And then just hear the remainder of the case next month.
Okay.
Like, make it a 2-phase. That's what I was thinking. Or do it whichever you want. I'm just worried about not opening it at all.
And Christina, we are on the agenda for the meeting
Tomorrow
evening,
night,
right?
they are being seen tomorrow night. Yes.
So it's always our intention to be there. It's just
If it,
procedurally, this meeting comes before
Yeah.
the CONSCOM meeting.
and the deadline for submittal of this information comes after the last CC meeting of last month. So it's
Oh.
impossible to get them in. See,
Okay.
it's like a catch-22.
All right.
But, yeah, I think the two-phase system, instead of this being a submit and final, we do a two-phase like you did with the last case.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd be happy to present, if it behooves the board, happy to present with the understanding that we maybe wouldn't be seeking final approval this evening and are expecting a continuance, but I think I would at least like the case accepted
Okay.
with maybe
We can
an
do that.
understanding that we wouldn't be seeking final approval and then would be back before you
Okay.
next month.
And I can look
If that
into
seems
that
reasonable.
issue of how we're set up with our boards, that we almost make it impossible for anyone to present through the CC before you. It's almost impossible to do. Unless they tell me way ahead of time and have their paperwork ahead of time, but then usually they just ask to go to the front of the planning. It's a little bit of a catch-22.
So we would accept it as final pending.
Accept it just as complete, open it up, and then
Yeah,
know
that's
you're
what I
gonna
meant.
hear,
Yeah, complete.
you're gonna hear another month again. You're gonna hear part of
Pen-
it tonight.
Yeah, pending the fire. We also
That
have
we can
fire,
also
water,
get into.
sewer, and conservation
We-
commission.
Absolutely. We need,
Okay.
yes. And the rest of the departments are, well, in theory, I guess the conservation is too. It's just, there is no way to hear conservation first.
Okay, well. Do I have a motion to accept as complete?
I will motion that we accept 2023 SDF-P-08 as complete.
Do I have a second?
Second that.
I have a second by Jeff?
Are we going to add pending at this point?
No. No, this just opens this case.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it.
Spencer, if you turn it,
Yeah,
I
let's
believe
put it
this
in
way is where the camera, if you turn it
If
facing.
the public want to see too.
Well, and I
You
think
guys
it's-
have the sheets, so
Yeah.
if you don't mind, I'm just going to scan this.
Yeah.
in.
And I think it's the only way they can see it on the TV, but I'm not sure about that.
I need to slide one out. Is this what
Look.
the at-home folks can see?
No, there's one right there. I think they'll see it from that one.
Okay. Let me get the pen off here. Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. My name is Spencer Cate with Meridian Land Services. I'm here on behalf of Mr. Mark Brunel to request the board's, I was going to say approval, but request the board's consideration of a cluster subdivision that's entirely a mutual. The parcel, I'm going to stand, I'm going to be talking to you guys, and I'll try to give you guys sheet numbers as you follow along, but if you want to just stop me, because I'm, something's good, that's just flag me down, okay? So, sheet one, I guess, map 218, lot 11. It's a 20.94 acre lot. It's entirely within the rural zoning district and entirely within Newport. It's a singular lot.
Are you going through the 1 through 15 packet first? Is this the 1 through 15?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
So those, I split those PDFs up.
Okay.
There's recorded plans and then there's engineered plans. The engineered plans typically are recorded at the registry. So it was simply sent to you as two separate PDFs,
Okay.
but to everybody else, their
It's
sheets,
the- it's in the
sheets
one.
1 through 15. Yeah. With the first 4 being the recorded sheets. Again, we're seeking approval for a 22-lot cluster subdivision. At the I have the case numbers here. Excuse me. At the August 17th, 2023 meeting, a special exception was granted to allow for cluster development on this lot at the zoning board. And at that same meeting, a variance from Article 2, Section 206.1 of the zoning ordinance was granted to allow for duplexes in the rural zone. That was a little bit of a point of clarity because condominium complexes are allowed. Duplexes, because there's a separate name for them, and they were called out other places in the ordinance. We sought this. There was an argument to be made that the zoning allows duplexes where they allow condos, but for the sake of clarity and cleanliness, we were granted the duplex variance anyway. So, kind of skipping to sheet 2, which is looking at the existing conditions of the law. Again, 20.94 acres. It has roughly 2,000 feet of frontage along New Hampshire Route 10. That's the lot's only public frontage. It's a singular lot. It's bounded on to the north and to the east and south by private landowners. There's a town of Newport parcel across the street at 218 lot 10. Private lot 218-5, private ownership. And then this corner here at Airport Road, kind of off the lot to the southwest.
Can you present to the board, just so we can see what you're presenting?
Yeah. I apologize. So this lot is the airport. This is the eastern terminus of Corbin Road, and the frontage starts roughly across from Airport Road, and it proceeds approximately 2,000 feet. And this is the town of Newport lot that I believe they're considering or have approved putting municipal wells on.
That is
Or
north
water
of
supply.
Cornwall, yep.
So you may be familiar with that piece. There's an existing entrance to aggregate pit operation, directly across from the terminus at Corbin Road. It's kind of a graveled access way with a gate, kind of a simple ag gate, and some private property signage on it. Allen Street is the nearest crossroad on this side. It's approximately a third of a mile down from the southern end of the parcel. The lot again was cleared. It is currently, well, it was an aggregate operation that's since ceased since we proceeded through the application processes with planning. This is a wetland area that bisects the lot. So there's upland area here, upland area on this side. Other than that, though, the rest of the lot is entirely upland. The wetlands have been delineated, and although there's not a stream or a water course associated with it, there is a DOT culvert that's there, so it's an area of historic wetness, we can call it, but it's not flood zone, according to FEMA maps. The surrounding lots are predominantly forested, with the exceptions of portions of lot 218-12 being cleared and looks like a ag use, either hay. I'm not sure. I'm sure the residents of town know better than I do. Municipal water comes up New Hampshire Route 10 and actually proceeds to Airport Road, and this is kind of the northern limit of where municipal water is. There's a hydrant at roughly across from Allen Street, and then there's a hydrant at the airport complex. And I'll expand a little bit more on that. And also the last power on Route 10, overhead power line, is also in this location. You can actually see the utility pole shown on the existing conditions plan. If we just jump to sheet 8 of 15. So are there any questions on the existing conditions of the law? These are Route 10, I'm sure you can read that. Okay. Going on to sheet 8, I think probably is the best depiction of what we're looking to do. Includes topography. Sheet 01. So proposed is a 22-lot cluster subdivision with lot sizes between ½ acre and an acre and a half, which is exceeds 1.5. Basically, the state and local minimum lot size with the cluster subdivision ordinance, it's as small as 20,000 square feet. But we're looking at 2 units, again, duplexes, 2 units on each lot. 40,000 square feet is just under an acre, 0.9 acres. When they're serviced by municipal water, you can cut that in half according to the state subdivision regulations. So that's the justification for the lot size. So each lot exceeds the 20,000 square foot minimum lot size. Again, the proposed lots are intended to be serviced by municipal water and on-site septic systems. So not extending sewer, but extending water. Power will extend from Airport Road up the right-of-way and then into the subdivision underground. So that's just a depiction of the proposed lots. Lot 21811, the 3.6 acre balance will remain in open space pursuant to the cluster regulations. We need to keep at least 10% of the parent lot in open space, and that'll be this area, which is largely the hayfield. At the zoning board meeting, it was mentioned the view sheds over towards the barn, so that area will be left alone. It's also largely the wetland area. Just going to the next sheet, sheet 9. The proposed 22 lots require 1,050 foot roadway length that terminates at a cul-de-sac. The roadway design meets or exceeds the town road specifications. The details are kind of towards the back of these plan sets. We can not looking to get too deep into those at this moment. But if you have any questions regarding the specs, they're further into the plan set. The road, again, we have to meet, it's a NHDOT right-of-way. The entryway needs to meet DOT standards. A DOT application is currently being sought and is pending at District 2. District 2. So on this grading sheet, you can see the road slope. Existing grades is the dashed line. Proposed grades is the solid line. The maximum road grade is currently proposed to be 5%, so 5/8 of an inch per foot, pretty flat. Generally like a parking lot standard. Anything steeper than that, doors will start to self-close when you get out of them if you're parked the wrong way. So it's relatively flat road going in. Open drainage on each side, so swales on both sides of the 50-foot right-of-way. I believe the town actually allows for an 18-foot traveled way. This is a proposed 22-foot traveled way with 2 feet of shoulders on each side. The balance of that traveled way plus the shoulders is still within the right-of-way, so that's the area for windrows of snow and also utilities. At roughly station 740, right in this location, between lot 218, 11.4, 218, 11.5, is the high spot of the proposed road. From there, water either drains to the north and out to an infiltration basin, again open drainage to a closed pipe to an infiltration basin, or southerly through open drainage to 2 catch basins, to a pipe, to a gravel wetland. Again, specifics on the actual construction, maintenance, design of these drainage structures is within the plan set in front of you. The drainage design associated, it has been, was designed and is currently under review with NHDES, the Alteration of Terrain Bureau, because we exceed 100,000 square feet of disturbance, but it also meets the town stormwater drainage requirements. So it either meets or exceeds the town requirements and meets or exceeds the state requirements. And again, that proposal is pending.
Could you please ask the applicant to repeat what is going through the NHDES still?
Yeah, so to answer your question, so the state permits that we're seeking is NHDOT for the entrance into the right-of-way. So that's Department of Transportation. and that is pending, and I believe I sent Christina they would call it a work number or a file number, so we don't have the approval on it, but they have a way to codify it at the state, and I don't
Yeah.
have that number on me,
You've
but
sent the application in.
yes.
Yes.
And then what's going through Department of Environmental Services is AOT permit, so alteration of terrain. And then also, we will be submitting a state subdivision application, but that's a touch later, depending on, the outcome of the meeting. But basically, you want the proposed configuration of the lots to go to subsurface. And that's required for any lot under 5 acres in size that will be serviced by an on-site septic system. So that hasn't been submitted yet. Will be pending shortly after this meeting, hopefully. But AOT has been submitted, and we have a work number for that.
Thank you very much.
The new entrance is going to be moved slightly south to align with Corbin Road.
Correct. Be directly across the street.
Okay.
And then getting into the lot configurations really briefly. So that's the drainage regime is actually remarkably simple on this site. Open drainage to the north and to the south. The site is basically, again, it's currently an aggregate pit, or formerly an aggregate pit. It's 30 to 40 feet, maybe deeper in some areas of sand and gravel. And let's see. And then in terms of the lot configurations, again, we exceed the 20,000 square foot Newport minimum lot size. We'll meet the state required minimum lot sizing. Test pits were excavated on each one of the lots. And then these rectangular boxes that are depicted are a 4,000 square foot reserve area, just to simply demonstrate to the town and also to the state subsurface bureau that each one of these lots can support an on-site septic system without needing any waivers or deviations from the rules. And again, that one hasn't been submitted yet, because when you submit that one, you don't really want the lot configurations to have figgled around at all, lot lines, because then you need to go and resubmit, and there's a fee associated with that. AOT, because they're treating the whole site, no problem submitting that, and then again, DOT is under review. I don't anticipate that there's any issues getting that approval of them. There's ample site distance, and also the state has published a traffic count in this area, and we're well under what the what would you call it, the capacity.
We're about at 30% capacity on that area of Route 10, so in theory you have 70% increase for the road.
Yeah, for the whole capacity.
Right.
So I'm happy to go through anything additional in detail. That's kind of the long and the short of the proposal. We are avoiding all impacts to jurisdictional wetlands on the lot, so there's no wetlands permit application actually being sought, because we avoided it with the configuration. And again, a good chunk of the wetland area will ultimately end up in the open space portion of the lot.
Mr. Chairman, I missed the size of the street, but the subdivision requirements under Newport, they're in the collector size, and they need with the shoulders 24 feet, 18 feet road width at least. I believe Spencer said 20, but then I didn't get his shoulders. But the shoulders on each side have to be at least 3, so 24 total of a road with shoulders for this size subdivision.
Yours was 22.
So we have a 22-foot paved surface, then 2 feet of shoulders on each side.
So that meets it. That's for unit subdivisions 31 to 50.
Yeah, and the right-of-way is 50 feet. The center line of the road is the center line of the right-of-way. So if we do some simple math, basically we have a 26-foot wide chunk that you're taking out of the, a 24-foot wide area that you're taking out of that right-of-way, and that leaves the balance divided by 2 on each side between the edge of the shoulder and the limits of the right-of-way. That's for snow storage capacity, windrows, the drainage swales, utilities like power and water, to all be within that right-of-way.
I noticed something else that should have been in my review that I never got to. I didn't see a snow removal area on the plans for when they're doing plowing to dump that snow.
It goes in the right of way.
Oh, is that what's gonna happen?
Right?
Yeah, there should be a room on each side.
On each side, so you were not gonna have any snow?
Nothing
Okay.
additional, we can call it out as a stippled area in that buffer, but yeah, you're gonna have at least 12 feet on each side. You're gonna You also have a swale in it, so the capacity's more than just horizontal.
As long as they're good with it. I just didn't see one, and usually we ask for it.
Do you have the documentation for inspection
Maintenance, inspection and maintenance.
maintenance?
Yeah, that's included in the AOT submittal documents, which I think the town should have been CC'd on. I'm happy to get you that as a separate excerpt. for
I
that-
don't
for
think
that.
I've gotten that yet.
Okay. It's typically a requirement for the AOT
Yeah.
submittal, so.
But they need the rates to go in. Should
Correct.
something happen that somebody doesn't do what they're supposed to, and we need that documentation.
So those areas will be under easement. In the first 4 sheets, which again are the recording sheets. Yeah, so this is sheet 4, 15. You can actually see the areas that are going to be under easement. So the areas that are on private land for the stormwater, so the right of way we don't need to worry about in terms of encumbering it with an easement, but these drainage areas we do. So that easement will be for the benefit of the town for maintenance.
And they're just on the south side, right?
South and north, in all the,
Oh, yeah.
in those drainage structures, yeah. So these are going to be the recorded plans, and then there's also going to be the documents that go with that recording.
I can have that for next month's meeting. I'll get that paperwork.
Okay.
AOT. I'm making a list of all the things for next month.
Yeah, 'cause we have to have the easement to go in.
Yeah, I'm writing that down also, and anything else you find.
Is this going to be a privately maintained access to the property?
That's the plan, yeah. But I believe the town requires that even private accesses be built per town spec.
Any subdivision in the town they have to build the roads.
Whether it's private,
streets,
whether it's private or
absolutely.
public. Yeah.
And I don't foresee this being taken over by the town.
Right.
I don't foresee that, that'd be BOS, but I don't see the rationale.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just
Sure.
the general nature of the project. Just reading the topography and having driven by the site, that is clearly a gravel pit right now, and not being able to read the topography perfectly well because it's, I can see the steep parts, but
It's dense, yeah.
yeah. So is the intent that this is going to be within a pit essentially, or are those being taken down and leveled out so you're going to see this off of the highway and
Yes.
visible that way, and then, because I don't know from your drawings.
Right.
I can see the
grading, but you
a
can't
lot of
see
slopes in
the-
here.
Yeah, so
That's a general question. I'm not really asking for an absolute-
specifics, yeah. So there's basically 2 large knolls in here that will be cut down. As you're driving by the site from the south here to the north, you'll actually see, once you pass this entranceway, there's a pretty good slope, almost like when they cut in Route 10, they cut off of portions of this land, filled to make the road. So it's probably a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 slope going up. I would estimate 20 to 30 feet off the road grade, and then the site will actually be, we're going to hold that elevation from the top of that, and then we're going to cut back down into the site. So we're going to cut down the guts of the site, the inside of the site, and leave a berm. That was actually a condition of one of the was it the special exception or the variance? It was a condition of one of the outcome of the ZBA meeting in August, such that you can't, you're going to be able to see portions of this subdivision without a doubt, but it's not going to be on the top of the hill. The site's going to be cut down in some areas as much as 30 feet. But the berm on Route 10 will be maintained, so that you'd have to be looking up and then back down towards the top of the house. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it wasn't just,
Yeah, just a general question.
yeah, I'm just curious, as what it will look like coming into Newport, or exiting Newport, what this will look like.
Yeah.
And, you can drive by any number of our subdivision areas, Unity Road, and, there's a zero at the beginning, and then it meanders inward.
Sure. Yeah, as part of this, I'm going to just, pardon me for reach here, but this berm be maintained. You can actually see that we're maintaining the grades off Route 10, and then we're cutting down from the inside and top of the berm. So these landings in here, these house sites, I would guess start at about 12 feet below the top of the berm and go down from there. Meaning you would have, even if you built a house 30 feet tall, you'd have to be kind of looking, you have to be a really tall house to see over the top of the berm and see the top of the building. These lots towards the south here you will probably see, but as you get in here, these I don't imagine that you would be able to see.
These all be noise isolated from the road.
It's going to be, yeah, it's going to be an earthen berm.
That's all.
I was going to say, I have a question as well.
Sure.
I was going to say, so that goes into Route 10. You said that driveway or that road is across from Corbin Road? More
The
or less.
existing access road or
Yes.
the proposed
The
one?
proposed one.
Yes. It's roughly across from Route 10. You can see it on the existing conditions plan.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, 12-foot single lane access, yeah.
Right. Now, do you have any data on how that would affect the traffic on Route 10 and all that good stuff?
Relative to,
The way it is now. You know what I'm saying?
so we don't have a traffic report. Again, DOT is the authority having jurisdiction. But
There's assuming 8 trips per dwelling is typically standard. If you've got 42 dwellings
per day, 8 trips
per day, which that
day.
seems a little light maybe, but to me, that's 300 and, is that right, 8 times 44? 352 trips in and out of vehicles. That could be UPS, school, work, blah, blah,
And
blah.
I was going to say now, if I remember correctly, that's outside of the school zone. Is that 50 over there? Okay.
There was also
55.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was also a request from ZBA to have the speed limit lowered.
We
Was
have
that-
nothing to do with that.
I
Yeah,
know.
a request from the ZBA to the Board of Selectmen, or
I
excuse me,
think
Select
to-
Board, to request
The
DOT.
state, the state to do that.
Yeah.
And I apologize, I should have had that also, that the ZBA requested you to consider those conditions.
Well, they said that the berm in the right-of-way, that berm is not all in the right-of-way, right?
No.
Some of it's going to be on private land.
Correct.
So
And we're maintaining from the right-of-way inward, meaning where you could typically grade up, as long as it doesn't impact the state, you could grade in the right-of-way to some extent, but we're holding the lot line as our limit of grading, such that it's more conservative in terms of the berm area that it retains.
So you're not going to be dropping the high point of that berm down.
No,
To make
no.
it-
In fact, there's a little slump right in this area, and that's actually going to be filled to carry this berm from the high all the way across on the lot. And you can see that little fill right here. That's the only place of fill in that berm. But in terms of additional traffic study, unless DOT requests it, we don't see that that's necessary now. And if the speed limit on that section of Route 10 drops to 35.
Preferably not.
Well, no, I mean.
I like to end up in Valley faster.
There you go.
Right.
There were some, at the prior meeting, there were complaints regarding southbound traffic coming into the school zone, kind of hot. But again, that's this subdivision in terms of its impact on that. I don't know if it's.
And you line up pretty much with Corbin Road, so it makes a four corner rather than a
Correct.
offset. So.
Yeah, more nearly than what's existing. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions on the board? I'll open it to the public. Anyone like to speak for?
I got some questions,
Sure.
if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Jason Avery. I couldn't see your diagram.
Sure.
If you could just go back 2 or 3
You're
questions.
welcome to take the steering
No,
wheel here if you'd like.
That's fine, you can touch it however you want.
Okay.
The pre-existing culvert that you said the FEMA listed as not being flood zone. My question is, I assume that's on the south end?
Yeah, this flatter portion here,
Okay.
the DOT corridor right here.
Okay, that one. My question was just simply, what do they constitute as a flood zone? That's an education for me, in the simplest terms.
Yeah, so they take the 100-year flood, and if it would be, I believe it's within 1 foot of the base flood elevation at the 100-year precipitation event,
Gotcha.
that's considered flood zone. So that is a 1% chance of happening every year.
It's every 2 weeks this year.
Yeah,
But yeah, I get you.
It's,
Thank you for answering that. The power, I didn't see where you're bringing in the power from.
yeah, so
You
power,
said underground.
well, it's going to be probably overhead in the Route 10 right-of-way.
Yep.
And then it has to be, I believe that's a local requirement, that within the subdivision, it has to be underground.
Gotcha.
So the terminus is here. And we're
Okay,
probably,
yep.
this is basically the northernmost point. So we got to carry this over here. I'd like, because we have to go underground and there's a wetland here, I'd like to keep that in the right of way for as long as I can, right up to basically the intersection with Corbin Road, and then come across to a sector cabinet pad, and then underground from there.
Gotcha. Now, my last question is, as Jeff had alluded to, the berm along Route 10, just for visual, for that kind of, the traffic count of, what did you quickly estimate, 300-ish?
350 chill.
350 chill. Are you planning on or considering doing any sort of light blocking for the neighbors that are there? You took down a beautiful stand of trees that they were probably dead on the inside anyways, but those added a certain amount of light protection, and with traffic coming in and out at night,
From the headlights, you're referencing?
especially as a curve right there.
Mm-hmm. So you're talking about in this vicinity internal?
Correct.
So not necessarily along Route 10?
Nope, I'm advocating for myself.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you see those 2 little squares right there?
Yep,
That's us.
yep.
So my question is, as traffic comes in and out, I mean, I don't mind traffic, but Route 10 all the time.
Right.
It's more on the neighborhood. If you're considering any sort of stand of trees, any sort of light, is there going to be street lights? Are they going to have eyebrows? So it's a lot of like future questions. It may not necessarily be at this meeting, but it's just that's where my mind is as we consider what this is going to look like, what impact this is going to have. Well, I also think what impact it's going to have on me, as well as the neighborhood and others.
Sure. Yeah, so you're right in here, right?
Yeah.
So are you concerned about headlights?
Yeah.
This direction?
Headlights,
coming down,
house
pointing
lights,
out?
that kind of stuff. I mean, I want people
Yeah.
to have privacy. We've definitely had our time there.
Yeah, sure.
Progress is what progress is, which is great. I just was curious if there's any consideration for standard trees, or if you would even consider that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's up to ultimately the landowner.
Right, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
And maybe that could even be a civil agreement, outside of the scope, because it's not necessarily a requirement. But I will say that the we're limited in terms of what we can do within the actual drainage structure.
Of course.
On tops of the berms that are created, maybe post-construction would be a suitable area for some plantings.
So the elevation, it's gonna go up like a screw? Similar? So from the road, it's gonna go in, as Jeff was saying, I'm sorry, as he was saying, as your road goes in, the housing, yes.
Yeah, it's
the
gonna
lots
slowly step up
step
again
up.
around 5%.
I couldn't see as you were, I was
Yeah,
trying to
I
keep
know.
up, but I was
I
losing.
know. So it's going to go up at 5%. There is a high spot right here, and it's actually going to go back down towards the cul-de-sac.
Okay.
Again, 5%. 5% outside is going to feel pretty
Gotcha.
close to flat or level. So yeah, I guess the house is kind of right here, probably going to be the highest, and then you slightly down.
That was, those are my only, and then water and sewers coming in right along with down there?
Yeah, similar trajectory for those, because again, we don't want to go cross-country.
Gotcha.
Through the drainage infrastructure and then also through the well area. If we could avoid that,
Thank you.
we will. I actually did talk to, was it Joe Branch
Yep.
with Newport Water. So I know he didn't provide formal comment, but he, or
Yeah.
maybe, I don't.
He did it, right, he didn't
Yeah.
respond to it.
And it'll only be water going through there, not sewer.
Correct, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
outside stuff there.
Yeah, sewer, whatever,
And-
that'll all drain out.
Yeah, so I did mention it, or I had just a phone correspondence with Joe, I think that was last Monday. He maybe just got back from vacation.
Yes, I was back on Monday.
And he, basically, he was okay with the and this is verbal, obviously you'd have to get it written from him. He was okay with the project, he had a little bit of concern regarding what the actual pipe is in that location and where it is, because it's not necessarily, like any good municipal project from days gone by, there's no real
That's not your problem, though, that's.
rock solid knowledge of where it is, but I guess he was willing to work with the contractor.
We have subsurface people that have to find it, it's our requirement, so it's not Joe, you have to find it, I know Catamount who does subsurface, if Public Works can't find it. So that's not really your concern. The one thing I wouldn't mind asking, Mr. Chairman, if you two go over the lighting on this and whatever they do have for lighting, obviously there could be no spillage, I don't see much lighting, and no uplighting anywhere, whether it's on a house or on a street light, and I didn't see much interest with lighting either.
There was no,
We didn't propose
pole-
any,
no
we don't
pole
propose
lighting.
any exterior lighting with this. I suppose that doesn't preclude a private property owner from putting in a lamp post or something, but then they would,
They have to follow code.
they'd be subject to the codes of the town. But no-
private residential has to still meet our sharp cutoff.
Absolutely, but with the construction of the homes themselves, are they gonna be putting lighting on the homes that will have the sharp cutoff? That's, I guess, what I'm asking, because I don't see that here.
Is that a code
That would come in
requirement,
on each individual lot as you build.
Do you have the plans for the lightings that are going on all the homes?
I don't.
Not yet,
But
okay,
if
no,
that's,
then
if that's
that's,
a requirement of it, just
It
because
is.
they approved the subdivision doesn't give them.
That's right.
It has to be
deviate from
sharp
building code.
cutoff,
perfect.
which is 180 degrees, no bulb
Yeah.
showing.
Seems reasonable to me.
It's a very simple concept, but we've had some commercial establishments that didn't think it
Deviated.
applied to them after they were told, and they submitted and then they changed.
Sure. If you'd like a note on the plan, we can do that, but again, it's not really a site plan that we're proposing, it's just lots that
Yeah.
are currently
Yeah.
But
proposed.
that should also help address some of your concern on your
Yeah.
lighting and stuff.
Yeah,
Once the homes are
There
built,
could be no spillage.
there's not gonna be a, 1,000-watt spotlight out somebody's back door.
Yeah, no, it's fine to me.
Any other questions from the public? Yes, sir.
Hi, Larry Schissel. I guess I represent the Conservation Commission tonight. And naturally, we'll get our chance to ask questions and fact find a little bit more tomorrow. But there are a few things we already do know. I'll preface this by Mr. Brunel graciously let me meet him up and take a little look around the property already. But things we do know are that though the plan is purported not to invade the wetlands that were identified by their own wetland scientists. There has been a significant amount of degradation in that area from rains and runoff this summer. And there is still an open case with the land resource management folks down in Concord. So one of the things we may want to be sure is we find out what the resolution of that case is before any of this moves forward. I think the plan is a little bit aggressive in how close it will impact the edge of the wetlands that they've identified already. And there's been a fair amount of scouring into the slope already. I think it behooves us to make sure we know the property line and how much that erosion from the scouring, the excavation will impact the land right up to and potentially at the boundary of Avery's property. So those are just a couple things to keep in mind, at least, and things we know already.
Did you
for the
have
record? I could enter the, give you the file number if you want to know what the case is open at the Wetlands Bureau.
I'll take that, if you'd be so kind.
Yeah, 2023-02555. And my contact down there at the Division of Wetlands is Jeffrey Bush.
Jeff Butcharzik.
Yeah.
Did they issue anything yet?
No, they haven't been. At my last contact with Jeff a couple weeks ago, they still hadn't had anybody come out to look at the site. And I think that's probably on their docket to look at the site. But, as we well know in our own departments here, understaffed and overworked, so.
Thank you. The lots 22 down to 19 are the ones that are affected by the wetlands.
They have wetlands partially on the plans.
And where you had the septic systems and the house proposed site,
Yep.
are they far enough away? Do you have any
So we actually-
remediation for the runoff during construction, silt fence or
Yeah, so
some sort?
these will need to be constructed first as part of the drainage infrastructure,
Yeah.
as part of the subdivision. So before even probably the first building permit gets issued, some of these items will need to be in place. These are intended to capture the runoff from the site
And
during construction.
that should remediate
Correct.
any more filtration going into the wetland.
Correct, yeah, it's acting as basically, there's a sediment forebay and then 2 gravel wetlands. Almost acting as, if you could picture like a term, like an open septic tank, where water and solids go in, but then only the waterless and primary filtration goes out the other side. You can see the 4K boxes. The statutory requirement for the separation distance from wetlands for septics is 50 feet for this type of wetland area. These 4K boxes exceed that, and actually the sediment forebay I need to be farther away from than I do the wetland areas. So the fact that we're putting the stormwater facility between the wetland and the buildable upland area acts as basically a separate de facto buffer for how close we can build to the wetland area. It is important to note Newport, I didn't see, there's no wetland setback
We don't have any wetland setback
for buildings.
That's right, and I don't believe the state does either.
They do not.
So,
They have the septic setback from wetlands, but they don't have a
Yeah.
structural setback from wetlands.
although you do need oversight when you go to build, you need to submit the cases for each house, correct? Resubmit
To whom?
to DES?
No, because impact is defined as excavation, grading, trenching, or constructing within the jurisdictional wetland boundary. So as long as we keep everything beyond the wetland boundary, there's no state wetlands permit that needs to be sought.
Okay.
So are you going to be using safeguards?
Yeah, it's going to have to be bounded by, I believe there's actually a sheet in here that has silt fence, erosion control measures all the way around the limits, actually the entirety of the limits of disturbance, so not just where it separates construction from wetland, but where it separates construction from non-impacted areas. So at the limits of disturbance, including off-site upland areas, we're installing silt fence and sedimentation control devices. And there is a sheet in the plan set that calls that out.
I saw one that had some of the...
Erosion control. Here it is. Yeah. So this is sheet 7, EC, erosion control, coastal erosion control. This also shows the limits of the berm. So again, off-site upland areas, we're still just trying to capture that sedimentation. As it pertains to an LRM compliance file, the DES, I don't know if this is written, but they basically have a standing policy that they won't issue an approval on a piece of land as a letter of deficiency or compliance file open against it, which makes sense, right? They're actually a permit where you have a wetlands violation. So typically what we would need to do, if there has been issues involving the sedimentation into the wetland area, is we would do a restoration plan. That restoration plan goes to Jeff or a member of his staff in the Compliance Bureau at DES. They issue a restoration approval with a statutory timeline that you need to do those mitigating items. As soon as that's squared away, they close. Not as soon as it's squared away. You have to do some follow-up paperwork and some inspections, but they'll basically close the file on the restoration, and all the other subsequent approvals can come in. So I guess I'm trying to say that there's a vested interest in wanting to, if there is an issue and compliance calls it out, to restore the wetlands where they've been impacted.
So you've got it delineated as double temporary perimeter protection.
Correct.
Does that mean there's going to be two separate
Yeah, it's usually redundant. So either a mulch berm with a silt fence on the back side of it. It's pretty nice because that way you don't need to, typically with silt fence, which you don't always see, it's supposed to be excavated into the ground about 6 inches and folded back so that sediment can't get under it. The way around that is to have it go through mulch or compost or silt sock. So you don't need to excavate for it. You're basically building up earth so that you don't get anything below it. So it's typically what we're referencing. I believe we have in one of your subsequent sheets there the erosion control details. Probably D3. It's going to be page like 11, 12, or 13, I think, or sheet 11, 12, 13. 12.
Anybody else got any questions, comments?
Yep, Don Shagan. On the south side of the development looks like primarily on lot 21, the drawing I have shows a gravel wetland.
Yes.
Is that actually a stormwater catchment basin?
Yeah, so that's an AOT allowed metric, or allowed stormwater facility. With the way the gravel wetlands work is it's basically a constantly saturated, you think of it as a retention basin that's constantly saturated. And the water actually moves through it because it's saturated, it's anaerobic. Because it's anaerobic, it'll denitrify the stormwater going into So it does allow, I forget what allowance it gives you from an engineering side, but the stormwater that comes out of it should be more denitrified than a more conventional stormwater, like a detention basin or a retention basin facility, because it's basically pushing it through, almost like a groundwater column.
Is there a, some kind of requirement to treat for nitrogen?
No, again, I don't know what the engineer's decision, exact logic was in using that, but typically they'll, if you treat for certain things like nitrogen, you may be able to have a smaller footprint or treat less volume. I don't have an answer for you. I'm happy to get you one, but generally he's probably balancing the benefit of the stormwater with what it allows him to do on a design standpoint.
Yeah, I'm on the Conservation Commission as well,
Sure.
so I'll see you tomorrow night.
Great, looking forward to it.
If you haven't answered that. Does that require, or does that have an actual overflow, or is it percolating?
Yeah, so there is an actual outfall to it, which will be on the wetland edge. And it goes from the sediment forebay on the, this would be the western side, to the two gravel wetlands. And then so I would guess that the outfall is going to be somewhere on the eastern and down gradient side. So there will be water that trickles out of there. Yes.
And is both of these, the other one on the north end is just a,
Infiltration basin.
so that's percolation.
Correct.
Yeah, so it's not actually providing, well, other than for sedimentation, it's not providing treatment.
Well, the soil treats, it's basically an open septic system, or open leach field. You can think of it the same way, right? So wastewater goes into your leach field at your house or your facility, unless you're on municipal sewer. But it goes into a leach field and then it moves through the soil profile, and that movement through the soil profile, through the primary filtration, which is the actual sediment capture, but then also the bacterial degradation, munching on the biota in the wastewater, is what cleans groundwater. So it's using the same process. It's percolation down through a soil profile.
This will be percolating into the aquifer that we're tapping into.
Correct. The same as it does currently, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but there's no houses or anything that are vehicles or anything. Well, I shouldn't say there's no vehicles. The vehicle traffic is going to be increased substantially, I would think. It's going to have more of an impact, I would think. These require maintenance, both of these?
Correct.
And who is going to be responsible for the maintenance?
So it would either be the HOA or the town, or Mark may have a third avenue, but it would be whomever is the same entity as the road maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So I say the town, but that's a long shot. But if the town were to take the road, they would also take the drainage infrastructures. Otherwise, it would either be an HOA. There is a way to do a common ownership type. So you take the ownership of all the lots and you split the responsibility and the maintenance of the stormwater facilities by 1/44 per lot. So it's all basically functionally like an HOA, but it just doesn't have the encumbrances that an HOA has with it. It's simply a maintenance mechanism. But that's to be determined, I suppose.
Yeah, so there's no requirement from the town to have an HOA?
No, there are provisions via the state, an RSA.
The easement will state who's responsible,
Mm-hmm.
and it comes down to the town has an easement to go in if it's not kept up to standards and
They'll build.
fix it.
Yeah, is it a homeowners association?
And then it
Notorious.
becomes a thing through the courts for
Yeah.
civil actions. And
Okay, so the town will ultimately assume responsibility for it.
No.
If they don't, and then it would become a legality, and if, God forbid, they could fight, there would be liens on the properties. So we would take over responsibility. They still end up with the responsibility.
But
Just
the
they might
cleaning
have
would be
hefty
done by
bills.
By
Pardon
the
me?
town, I guess that's what I'm getting at. That's the backup to the HOA.
Yeah.
Yeah, because HOAs are notorious for not, I've seen it elsewhere. not
that's
upholding
why
their
you
own.
have an easement and the maintenance agreement,
Okay.
and it states so that they can go after whoever. I mean, I've seen it in other places where things were left, and then they ended up, and it gets quite expensive.
It gets, the liens are ridiculously expensive, $275 a day, I believe.
Okay,
So it's, you lose your property pretty quick if you don't resolve it.
okay, thank you.
Anybody else like to speak? Seeing and hearing no one, I'll come back to the board. Jeff?
I don't know if this really pertains so much to the subdivision approval, but as selectmen on board, I do have some questions about the project in general, because I think that the public would like to know the general nature of the project. And that is, these were approved by the zoning board as duplexes. And it's whether the lots are going to be sold off individually to be built as a duplex at an owner's discretion. In other words, that the site's individual building may or may not look identical within the lot, or is the intent of the developer to develop each lot with a duplex that is then identical in nature to the one next to it, and then so that there's continuity to the entire project, and or is it going to be condoized or condos with the association? You guys just let me know the fact that I asked these questions is
Yeah, so as a developer, they're all the same. So they're side by side, they each have a garage, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms on each side, single story. And so our intention is to build all 22 of them identical.
Okay. And then you would be selling them off as lots?
No, we're not selling any lots, we're only selling finished product, finished homes.
Finished homes.
Yes.
Mark, do you have a picture on your phone of what
Yeah,
your
I was just
idea
gonna-
was?
I was just gonna-
I'm thinking I might have had a picture that you guys gave me, but I don't, did you guys give me the pictures?
Yeah.
I did, yeah, but, yeah. So there's some,
Is there pictures in that file?
I have it.
Oh, you have it, okay.
So there's a front elevation.
and they were what, 3 bedrooms each, right, Mark?
Yeah, they're 3 bedrooms each
Each side?
2 bathrooms.
I'll make that my 6th thing to bring for next meeting too.
We can resend those to you.
If you can,
I should have them,
if you can hold that up so that they could get a bead on it.
Will they get them?
right, that.
I'm not sure exactly where it's got to be, but they can adjust it.
Maybe you can walk, maybe you
They
can
might-
walk
they'll
close
be
to
able
that
zoom
thing.
in. I think they can zoom in.
Just don't get too close, because then they won't
Yeah,
go back
they're
out.
following you with the camera now.
Will it go up on one screen?
No, that's,
Oh,
you're being
it's just
televised, yeah, so you should be all set.
Thank you.
Thank you, that's,
I was going to say, I have another question. So just a clarifying question. You said you're selling the finished product, that is lot and building?
Yes.
Okay,
So basically, each half is a home,
okay, I
Right.
understand.
so that's how they'll be sold.
And who owns the lot though?
Well, I would own the entire project.
You own the entire project, and
Yeah.
then people would individually own each side of the house?
Correct.
I understand.
And the land that it's on.
oh, and
And
the
the
land.
land.
Yes.
Yeah, the land goes
It's
to
not a
the-
condo.
Yeah,
Duplex.
that's why it's a duplex,
I
right?
understand, okay.
So the land ownership would be split between the
Between
two,
the two.
between the two.
I
Right,
understand.
that, right.
Okay, that makes more sense, okay.
With an association, I see.
Right.
Would it be a shared interest in the septic? They don't each have their own septic, right?
So how we would do the septic is each unit, each half would have their own tank, and then it would be one common field.
You, okay.
Yeah.
6 bedrooms.
Yeah, 6 bedroom
6 bedroom
fields.
systems, yeah.
We've tried to divorce as much as we could, you know, so that there was a level of individual responsibility up to the point of the actual leach field, and it would be shared responsibility at the leach field. But should somebody, just from a septic designer's perspective, should somebody, you know, misuse their system, hopefully that would get captured by the septic tank or the sewer line leading up to it. So
Is there gonna be a maintenance agreement on each lot between the two people?
Not for those, that would be a shared, that'd be to me, that'd be a civil issue. Same as if you had an ADU attached to your house, and you had an issue with your shared septic system. But functionally, there's value in typically separating the lines and the tankage as much as you can until you get to the shared field, because that tank is going to be your first insurance policy from the
And
shared.
best practices, if it messes up, it shuts off anyway. If it's got the proper insides.
Yeah, and it'll actually backflow into that one individual's unit, right? Or they'd have issues,
Before it spoils the field.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah. So you'd be able to ideally pick out the individual location, and you'd know whose responsibility it was, because it's almost everything here is going to be a gravity-fed system.
But your test pits were all the way down were all gravel and sand.
Sand, most
Very
of it.
light sand.
As we got towards this lower portion of the field, or of the towards the southern end, there was water table that did start to show up. But again, those will be kind of filled up. The rest of these will be cut. But yeah, we were down, 10, 12 feet, maxing out a pretty good size excavator, all sand. Yeah.
Very good.
And if you were to go into the pit, you could actually see 10, 20 feet of sand face.
I'm familiar with the area.
I have a question.
Sure.
With the development of the new well across the street, I know you're outside of the prohibited zone, but has there been any interaction or discussion as to possible impact of this kind of a development in close proximity to the well?
We haven't heard anything about it, and I guess if there was going to be some level of impact from this development on the well, I would say that the responsibility would have been on the well driller to understand how they are potentially encumbering a surrounding private lot and removing development potential from them. And I understand that that's the town, so I'm not looking at
quite a ways away.
Looking to unfold
They
that.
got like a 200-foot buffer plus the road, plus the
Plus, they
setback.
have town water, so they will not be drawing any.
But I guess I was more concerned with the leach fields
Oh, yeah.
reaching into the ground closely. Who knows where that leach field is going to run, and move off to,
It usually,
and how quickly
it usually
Yeah, if we were-
corrects itself before it impacts.
impacts the water table.
That's what they, when the state came up on my property, we had 40 feet of drill-tested sand, and he said it'd be 25, 30 years before they got to the second stage, my 4-stage system. So by the time the water goes through the sand, I forgot what the rate is, but
The Darcy flow is amazing.
for so much,
slow.
for every foot of sand, it takes out a percentage until it's drinkable.
Yeah, if you consider an on-site well, it could be as close as 75 feet from a leach field. And yes, this is 44 individual units, but you're also getting several hundred feet of separation distance. And then I don't know what the depth of drill or well they're looking to put in there, but you also have to consider that hypotenuse as well, where it's not just overland, point to point.
It's very deep.
It's
Used
the
to know-
diagonal.
I used to know
dimension
those
to where the
numbers, but
water's
I've forgotten.
actually And then if you consider it's an aquifer, so it's getting all the water from the entire watershed,
Yes.
right? So yes, maybe you got to be, if you're going to play that card about the potential development of these 44 lots, well, maybe we should, you got to look at the developments going on in Hanover and Sunapee and everything else within the entire watershed to see what has bearing. You can't. You have to apply the same level of logic to all the development that's contributing to it, not just an individual lot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any other questions? Well, we've got, yes. Can and I can reopen it if you'd like. I'll reopen to the public for any final comment.
Just a question on the, who is looking at your exact question, the water, the well, the town's well? Because as we all know, as wells draw water, an artesian well that's down there is one thing, as people are using 200 gallons a day. If the town's going to put in a public well that's going to be drawing 7,000 gallons a day, you get what's called the Kona depression. You know, as the water in the well is being pulled, the area around the well, more water from the surface, it gets bigger and greater and it comes down. I was just wondering who was doing that. 'Cause we also have our well, which is next door, feeds the neighborhood. We're down 83 feet. We draw, well, our yield is 364 a minute, I think. But we're not using that. You know, the neighborhood isn't drawing that. But my question is, who is doing a study for that? Like you said, one of you just said, it's up to well driller to do their homework.
When they put that out, they did the whole survey.
Yeah.
And they put what they needed for a perimeter, which I think is like, I forgot what it was, 200 or 400 feet.
Probably 400.
And Jeff,
so it's-
would you know I should know who's doing the Newport well too. Who's the engineers?
I'm not sure the engineers, but I know that there is a drawing, which I'm sure you are well aware of, and no pun intended.
I mean, I could get that, I could find
I just think it's, you know, we got the airport and its area. We've got the well, the town well and its protection area. We've got this septic going in and it's going to have protection area. Then our well. I just want to make sure somebody is putting all these pieces on the table and making sure that there's no problems.
Yeah, if it's
backup well.
if it's
They
served-
wouldn't get an approval from the state if it didn't meet their criteria.
Yeah,
I'm happy then.
if it's serving more than 25 individuals a day, which it sounds like these wells will, it'll actually need a public water supply approval. And so when they do the public water supply approvals, you actually have to drill the well first, and then you do water quality testing and quantity testing, and that's done annually or biannually by a water well operator, you know, probably DPW.
Yeah,
And it actually has to
I'm an
be-
operator.
Okay, so it actually has to be sent to.
I was just wondering if somebody has looked at all the public pieces. That's all.
I seem to recall when you know, the discussion of well in the past came up, that aquifer was significantly above anything the town needed. If I remember. right.
Volume-wise?
Volume.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
talking like protection areas.
Quality.
That's all.
Yeah.
Quality. That's all.
I
I mean,
believe, they haven't done the drawdown yet, as far as I know, so.
no, they haven't.
Did
Yet.
they
We
do
haven't
the-
received notice. Thank you for allowing me to ask that
Are
question.
there public hearings on the well at the BOS level, or?
There are public hearings that have already been done, and they're
Yeah.
actually taped if anybody wants to watch them.
Okay, but probably no further ones for
Not that I know of. They had one for Croydon, and they had one for Newport, because Croydon is
did
I haven't
you go
in
to
that
those?
aquifer also.
I didn't go to the last one.
Okay.
I was satisfied with what I saw last time.
Okay.
You know.
I'll look at it anyways, and we have all the paperwork here. Like, if you want to see them, it's all public knowledge. Stacks and stacks and stacks. So I can find out.
Perfect. My spare time.
Yes,
I
exactly.
guess to just further your question, I really don't want to complicate anything, but I've also heard mumblings about the idea of sewer being extended up Route 10 as well.
Yes.
Was that right, Christina?
Yes,
So,
there's,
you know, there's
I was just
nothing,
curious.
there's nothing that precludes either this developer or you know, future landowners, should the infrastructure be there, from being able to tie into that.
Gotcha. Thank you for allowing me.
Anybody else? I'll come back to the board. Do you want to wait for whatever input that they had from conservation, or?
Yes, I think we have to continue
Yeah.
until we get those,
So,
I have
the
quite
fire
a
department,
few
the
things that
water
you.
sewer, or the
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. I've got that the fire never made a comment. Spencer did talk to Water and Sewer, but Joe didn't respond to me. So I wouldn't mind something in writing about that. Then you're going to get the Conservation Commission input. I was going to get the AOT documentation that was, and then I might try to see if we can have some information on the resolution of the case at DES for you next time. Although, obviously, as Spencer said, that would hold up production anyways if there was an ongoing case with DOS. So it shouldn't affect approval, but maybe I'll even have that information. And then maybe some photos. But I do think, well, if you want to save just the vote for approval, or approval contingent upon these all go well, it's up to you.
I think it would, by the time you get all your ducks in a row, it's gonna be another 4 weeks anyway. And you can still do alteration of terrain if you get the permits. And then we'll meet again next month. And that way there, you'll have a chance to hit all of these dots that the other,
Most of them are mine.
you know, the other departments are gonna have. And then if we need to do conditions, then we can do conditions or whatever you wish. I mean, you know, if it looks like something that you can deal with without conditions, great. If not, if you need another month, we can go. How
You
many
can go up
days?
to 60 days, and I think that's after, it's either after the first, hold on, I just read it while I was looking over. I'll have to look into that, but you obviously can hear a subdivision of this size in multiple meetings.
Right.
But the approval per an RSA, I might not be able to find it off the top.
I believe it's 60 days from acceptance. So
From, okay,
That's
from
what I
acceptance, so in theory,
automatic 2 months.
That's
But
what it was.
should there be a continuance, which there would be, it sounds like there's going to be tonight, it'd be 60 days.
If something came up that
From
we
next
couldn't
Yeah,
get under
it-
remediation, we could do a
Yeah.
continuance of that.
I think that we could have it where we could vote next meeting,
Yeah.
get this.
I think so.
I suppose I'd really like to, yeah, if there were ongoing question marks or comments,
Get 'em.
I would like to have those in hand so that we have the most complete
Me-
proposal for you guys next.
Makes it cleaner, Mylar too,
Yep.
so.
Are there any, so then, yeah, let me know what else you want me to find. And that, you could always email me too, if there was stuff after, if you think of it. It's not in conflict as long as you're not discussing the case itself outside.
I think we're in pretty good shape. Yeah. Just once we get all the rest of the paperwork and the different departments to make sure that they don't have something, especially with water,
Sure.
how they want it. That makes a difference of how your final is going to come out. So, do I have a motion to continue?
Make a motion that we continue 2023-SDFP-08 pending aforementioned documents.
To December 12th.
To
December 12th.
I'll second.
We have a second by Tobin. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Excuse me.
Yes.
December 12th at 6 o'clock in the Board of Selectmen room?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. We will continue to December 12th.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'll talk to you, I'm in all week. Yeah.
What do you want of this stuff?
I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you. I sent you the link.
Can I leave any of this stuff for the moment?
Well, so I'll send you,
I didn't know
I
you
sent
were
you
here.
the invite for this.
Yeah, well, my excuse
And then
for the show.
she sits on the board.
I didn't know you were here. I thought you
So it's a big part of this.
No,
You follow that?
I do all of it.
Yeah. So I think your evergreens
Yeah.
are gonna block a lot of this.
What I didn't mention.
Plus, that field is, that field's gonna grow. Never gonna be touched. I was gonna let it grow. Yeah, you want? Oh.
But as a kid, that was all forced, and I loved it.
Excuse me.
We don't wanna start.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Sorry, I thought the meeting was...
Can you take it outside, please?
Sorry, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good night. Spencer, I know, I'll talk to you. I agree. I know.
Well, yeah,
I know.
that might be just.
Okay. Our next order of business is on the minutes of October 10th. Are there any corrections, omissions, typos, anything that was in there?
Leave those plans there. I don't need them. No.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Have a
you.
nice night.
We go.
Yes.
Chair, I do have a question, whether or not the members present and absent is correct. If you could all check that.
That's Ken.
I have a correction.
Yeah.
Missing member or absent member, Scott Smith. Should be Scott Smith.
Thank you.
I know my name.
Your mom will be proud of you.
I know, right?
Good call on that.
Yeah.
I probably would have skipped right over it if they wrote something else for
He
mine.
gets a few meetings under his belt, he'll forget his name.
Or I hope everybody else forgets it.
Okay. I didn't see anything else that was in here that stood out. Would somebody like to make a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion to accept
As amended.
as amended.
I'll second, I guess.
Tobin seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
One abstention. Heard Keller.
I don't remember if I watched that meeting or not.
Okay. The ayes have it. Our next order of business is the Nelson Mylar. Do you have that?
Yes, this case was last month. It actually had a date correction, I don't know if you remember that, and the Mylar for signing. If anyone could bring out maybe we just keep them together and everyone just signs twice. So that doesn't have a sign section, so I'd sign over the date and sign here. And then
We should have it.
from me,
Yeah.
in here. You want me to go get my stamp?
Oh, here you go. No, you're up here.
This is the Mylar, oh, it is up here.
Yeah, just not where you want to.
Okay, so, yeah, in the Mylar. And it's to what you approved with the date correction, obviously.
Is this thing?
That's a big
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a finer one.
It'll probably work.
Yeah.
While
Not the
you're-
way I write.
Perk's willing to give you a finer point.
While you're
What was the date? Are we-
the date of last meeting was October
10th?
10th.
This is the date you want on the Mylar.
Yeah, that's the approval date. On a side note, the survey letter should have went out already. I'm having issues with the printer who's then gonna mail. I haven't gotten a response back from them, and I would have thought it would have went out even a couple weeks ago. And so I actually contacted them again today, and I contacted New London Copy Services to see if they did this, because it's just a one page. We have the Survey Monkey link. I have everything. We're gonna have copies at the library, we're gonna have copies at the town offices. You can also pull it offline, or you can go to the link that's gonna be on the website and on the mailing for Survey Monkey. I have everything ready, and I'm just waiting on, they were really responsive the first time they did the mailing, and this one, so I should see that. again, unless they really just disappear on me, and I can hope that New London Copy Services will do the mass mailing. Perfect. Yeah. So that's an update on that. I don't know, yeah, I don't know why. All they needed to get me was the quote. And I would have paid it regardless.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. And that's all.
That's all you had for the
Just the update on the survey, I'm just getting them to, it's, again, I think last time I didn't have it on Survey Monkey.
Right.
And now it's all on, it's been on,
So is this an easy site to
yes,
get into
you'll
now?
get the link. As a matter of fact, you know what, I want it should go out in the mailing, but I could forward you guys the letter that's gonna go out apologizing for the loss of the data, and you've got the different places to go get it, pick it up, hard copy it in the town offices here, hard copy at the library, or print it offline, hard copy, or the link is going to be online, and then the link is going to be in the letter. So all you have to do is type in the link, and then it looks exactly like the survey, and you just click, 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 and it collects the data. So I can forward it to you earlier. I should do that with my boards, to have them look at it. At least you guys, and then you could. It's been opened. Anyone can. I'm just waiting for the mailing to go out.
Oh, was that the survey on the master plan and all that?
Yes, and I'm.
Do you have the
It worked well.
the actual address?
The address. Yes, I have it right now.
Put it on the whiteboard, and she can zoom
I
in on
could
it.
do that. It has the mailing hasn't gone out, so okay, let me go get that. I absolutely can.
No, I filled that out the other day, and it was easy. You click right on it.
Yeah.
Answer your question. Boom, boom, boom.
I mean, there's a
10 minutes tops. So.
Yeah.
I was debating whether to pick on her or not, since apparently we traveled in the future for our agenda.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, well, that's,
That means Thanksgiving is over. That's not all right.
Yeah, and the Christmas spills will be coming up.
well, while we're waiting, we can go to the public for any participation pertinent to the topics that are within our purview.
Mr. Spall.
Seeing and hearing no one, we'll come back to the board and we'll wait for our link to the survey. We'll put it on the whiteboard. There you go.
It's updated November 6th, so.
You should give up.
Thought I saw it somewhere.
It's amazing all the years of nothing happening in Newport.
So,
Developments are passed.
N-H-T.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
P-S.
Easiest way is just to go to the Newport, town of Newport site and
Yeah.
click on it, tap it.
Double forward.
And I'm sure some of the, all the stuff that's been going on here recently has got some people agitated, but, yeah. They're the same ones that also complain that, their taxes go up, so.
Oh, do you have it?
It's on the website.
Oh, it is already up on the website.
Yeah, it was
Oh, there you go. You've got it, and then
Says
you've
it was-
got,
posted November 6th.
there, yep. Yep,
You've already done it.
and this is the
Yeah, I was
letter.
gonna say, I
So
don't think
people,
I already did
I
it.
hope people, here then, here's the letter. And that is the exact letter that will be going out, and, and so there is a link also, and there are copies here if people want to come in. And this letter will go out, so I'm gonna work on it this week. I have a call into New London Copy Solutions today, and I have the call into the last copy services out of Manchester that did it.
You can keep it if you want.
We don't want this broke. Okay. You had a question?
Yeah, I did, and, oh, the joint meeting of the zoning board and planning board, Mr. Chair, has that been set up?
Not yet.
No, it hasn't. So, I sent out a letter to everyone, but mostly asking the ZBA when they could meet, because we were gonna meet on a Tuesday. I think I got 2 responses, and so I was like, okay, when are we gonna do it? And to tell you the truth, I thought the meeting, the best time would be the end of this month, and that's coming awful quick.
Fast.
Probably, I thought the end of the month was the best time, because obviously the Thanksgiving, I don't know how good that works. It also could be the 5th of December, or if everyone thinks December's bad, it could be the 2nd of January. And I was just gonna send out the letter and say this is when it is, because I think 2 people.
See when we can get it together. If they
When
can
do
do
you-
the
when-
early one, let's do the early one.
Do you want to try for November 28th? That would be 2 weeks from now, or is that too much?
It might be a little bit much for people that are planning around I think it'll have to be after that.
What about meeting prior or after this meeting, or prior, no, the December 12th meeting? I don't have any cases yet. We have this case. I don't know, would that be hard, instead of you guys coming in a whole nother night?
We can shoot for December 9th. if you want.
It would be December 12th, or
Or
we could do,
12th.
or do you want to do try December 5th? And I wouldn't do December 19th or the 26th.
Okay.
We do the 12th, okay?
Well, the 12th is our meeting,
Right.
so let's do the 5th. 'Cause I think that that's going to be much, if we get
Okay.
into details.
I'm gonna just send out a letter and hopefully, and we don't need the full amount of the planning board or the full zoning board. It's whoever, can make it. And
Yep.
so I was just like, I'll call the date. So, okay, that's another thing I'll do.
Is that public?
It will be, I'll post it. Yep.
Because we're not going to be, in any cases, we're just going to be having
No, and so
general discussion.
Yeah. I will have to post it, and I'll have to post it, I believe 14 days ahead of time, but I don't have any abutters to mail to or anything. So
Okay.
December 5th.
Well.
Got it then.
So we've got that. The Survey Monkey is up and out. And seeing nothing else on the agenda,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
we have a motion?
I'll second that.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Any abstentions? The ayes have it. Thank you very much. It is now 7:47.